Welcome, foolish mortals, to another episode of the Hitchhiking Host Show. I am your ghost host, Wes Troop, and I am back. Yes, a few weeks ago I went on a big trip to Disneyland, and I got sick while I was there for about 2 weeks after I got back. And while I was there, I got sick the last few days. Well, I should explain it all. I was sick before I went with a bad cold, and then my ears were clogged for that day after the plane. Then I was fine, and then I was sick again the last few days, but I'll get more into that later with my trip report. But let's just say I was sick for 2 weeks after my trip, so that's why this is late, my trip report. But I'm feeling better now, my ears are better, and I can go on with the shows, shall we say, and not be miserable while doing it. I didn't want to be miserable while I recorded this trip report, so that's why I waited, because I wanted to be all in, shall we say, for it. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Here is my 2015 vacation trip report from Disneyland. Things first, I landed in LAX. My ears were completely blocked, so I couldn't even hear the poor girl at the super shuttle. I think she was asking me what my name is, and I gave her my confirmation number. She's probably like, what is wrong with this guy? But I got on the super shuttle, got to the hotel, the luxurious travel lodge, Anaheim International Inn. It's fine for what it is. I'm barely ever in the room, just to shower and sleep, basically. You know, but it hurt because on the super shuttle, the first couple that got off at the Grand Californian. I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. And then we dropped me off at my luxurious suite. So yeah, if I could trade places, not with the girl obviously, but with the guy. Anyway, all right. So then I unpacked my stuff, tried to pop my ears, looked up on Google what to do. It didn't really work, so I headed to downtown Disney for the night. I bought my pass for the week the night before, and then I hit up Earl of Sandwich for dinner. It's the new tradition. I've done it twice now. Get your pass and eat an Earl of Sandwich. And I looked in the shops and, you know, checked out the windows at World of Disney, and that was basically it. I was tired because it was a long flight, so that was basically it for that night. Then Monday morning I woke up, hit up Disneyland, of course. You have to do that your first day. Evidently, that's what everyone else thought, too. Went there, got my birthday button right away at City Hall. Oh, before they opened, they had a family go in. The day before was the Pixie Hollow race, so I'm not sure like if they won the race or someone in the party won the race, because they let them go in early before everyone else and took a picture with Pluto in front of the railroad station. I thought it was just sort of weird. Everyone's like, what did they do, pay $1 million to get in early? You know, what did they give a big donation to the Disney company? What is this? But anyway, so I'm sure if anyone knows, they'll tell me on my comment section. But went in, hit up the birthday button first. You know, they let you in about 20 minutes, half an hour before the park opens. They had the characters all out in the town square there, in the you know, where Mr. Lincoln is at Main Street. Even Mickey was walking around, just chilling, you know. It's like, if this was Disney World, he'd be mobbed. But, oh, believe me, people ran over, but... So, I wanted to get a Pixie Hollow picture with Tink, of course. So, it was very popular that day because the race was the day before. So, people were taking their medals over to Pixie Hollow, and I thought, oh boy. So after the rope drop, I and a bunch of runners, funny enough, went over to Pixie Hollow. So you can imagine that death sprint. I kept up, so I felt pretty good with that. They had... It was like a 2-minute wait, if that. Tinkerbell and Iridessa were both there, and because it was busy, they had them both together to get people through faster. And they were cool. You know, Tink's my girl. She loved the I Heart Pixie shirt, of course, and said he got a nice happy birthday wish from them. I should say it is my birthday the entire week. And then I figured I would go out to Tomorrowland because I knew those rides get busy. So I hit up Star Tours first. I had both the Gungan scenes, or the episode 1 scenes, I should say, the pod race and the underwater Gungan scene, which I do enjoy. So I can flip off Jar Jar Binks. And then I went on Space Mountain. It said it was listed a 20-minute wait. So I said, that's fine for Space Mountain, my God. Got in line, and they said, Space Mountain is down. I was all the way up on, like, the roof, and they said, you can wait or you can come back. I thought, I'm gonna come back. So I went and found the Finding Nemo submarine voyage. It only was like 10-15 minutes. So I have never, ever been on a submarine ride in the Disney parks. So I thought, well, I gotta try this. It was down last time. It finally opened up. It opened up in September last year, I believe, yeah. So I went on that. Wasn't a huge fan of the submarine ride, I must say. At least this Finding Nemo one. I felt too cramped. Like, I was literally, like, sitting on the lap of people next to me. And you just look out the window, and it's basically the same as the ride in Epcot, the Seas with Nemo and Friends, with a little more added to it. It just seems so long and drawn out. Personally, I don't have to go on the Nemo ride again, but if friends of mine would want to go on, I would go on, obviously. But, it's just like a thing where I'm just like, it didn't thrill me, so it's not one of my favorite rides. But I know people out there like it, so whatever. It just didn't thrill me. And then Space Mountain was open by the time I got off of Nemo, and it had like a 45-minute wait, so I grabbed a Fast Pass. 45 minutes actually wasn't bad from the times I had seen the rest of the week, but we'll talk about that later. I hit up Pirates. That was closed last time I was there. I love this version. This is no doubt the better version of Pirates of the Caribbean. If you've never been on Disneyland's version of Pirates of the Caribbean, you're basically getting half the ride in Florida. The main portion of the ride, don't get me wrong, but it's so much cooler in Disneyland when you see the old man on the porch. Grandpa's at it again, as I like to say. The scenes you go by with the skeletons playing chess and drinking, the one drinking, and you see the wine going down his bones. That is just awesome. And then you get into the meat of the ride after that. But there's just so much more in the Disneyland version where that makes it better. So you know how I feel about Pirates ride. And then I hit up the Haunted Mansion, which of course, 2 days before this, the Hatbox Ghost was brought back in. So I was so glad was one of the first people, you could say, one of the first at least thousands, in the thousands, to see the Hatbox Ghost. And I loved it. It fits so well. I just really hope they keep it. I hope it's not just that was just for the 60th anniversary. Goodbye. I had heard rumors it's just limited time, but I don't know why. Just keep it. It's there. The Hatbox Ghost has the popularity to stay in the mansion. It's one of the most popular characters of the ride, and it hasn't even been in the ride for the last 40 years. So keep it in. It's awesome. Everyone was riding it basically for that reason. I got some good video, good pictures. It's great. It is. It really is. And I love Disneyland's Haunted Mansion too, but I think I like the Florida one better because it's a longer ride, you get more of the new technology, but now Disneyland has the Hatbox Ghost, so they win by default, really. If you're putting them against each other, a lot of people are gonna say Disneyland just because of that reason. Then I hit up Splash Mountain, and Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, basically just to see the heads of the 3 Country Bear Jamboree characters. And then, this was funny. It was time, because to go in the single riders line, I was not in a huge hurry to go on Indiana Jones, because I figured I can go on any time I want. So I thought, let's do Indiana Jones Adventure now. So I went on, got in the single riders line, which you go basically through the exit, and it was... Indiana Jones Adventure is always packed if you've never been on it. You're always looking at least for 45 minutes at least, and that's at least. I found it at 20 when the park first opens and everyone's running over there, but you very rarely are going to find it under 40. So I went in the single riders line, go through that big rigmarole of the exit, and then I was talking to a cast member, and I told him, it's funny because I haven't been on this ride in 10 years, because it was refurbishing the last time I was on it, or the last time I was in Disneyland, which was last year, and now I finally am getting on, but it seemed like it was going to be closed, because it was closed up until like 2 weeks before I went on my vacation, so I was freaking when I saw it was going to be down. And I said, it's almost like this ride is cursed with me. And as soon as I said that, he said, do you hear the music? And I said, no. And then the lights came on. He's like, well, here's my bad news. And then he said, he got on well, no, he didn't get on the thing because he didn't have one. But he basically said, Indiana Jones is temporarily down. You can wait here, which he recommended. He's saying this to an audience, by the way, of people. And he would recommend waiting here because it happens very often. If you've never been on an Indiana Jones adventure, it shuts down at least 2-3 times a day. All of a sudden a woman came by while he was talking, tapped him on the shoulder, said something, and he basically ran with the woman somewhere, and I was not sure what was going on. I was basically left alone. And people started coming off the ride, towards the exit, saying they saw fire, they saw smoke, and I thought, well, there is fire and smoke in the ride, but supposedly, after that, then an evacuation announcement went over the loudspeakers, and we were evacuated out of the ride. They didn't tell us exactly why, but there were the rumors that there was a fire in Indiana Jones going on in the ride, and I kept checking back the entire day, and it was closed. Still closed. All the cast members were outside telling people, we don't know when it's going to open. So there was rumor has it there was a big fire in Indiana Jones that day. I don't know if it was a big fire, but it was a fire. Then I went to have lunch at the Golden Horseshoe, which I enjoy, the show. It was a different show that I saw than last time, so I don't know if they have different shows that they do or if they just change it annually or whatnot. But it's fun. And then I hit up the Fantasyland rides. It was getting more packed. It was getting pretty busy. It was a busy Monday, and a lot of people said, who normally, I guess, annual pass holders or whatever, this is busy for a Monday, probably because it was the Monday after Mother's Day, and also the day after that race. So I hit up, even Pinocchio had a line, guys. And you can pretty much walk right on Pinocchio if you're a Disneyland buff. You know that to be a fact. I did Snow White, because that's another one you really don't have to wait long for. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. All, dark rides in Fantasyland. All somewhat cool. I like them. And then I actually went and saw the Frozen show in the Fantasy Fair. You actually have to get a fast pass for this show. So if you didn't know that before, you have to go. There's literally a random cart that they wheel out, and you get given a time, and they're like, this is for the 2 o'clock show or whatever. And you're like, okay. And then they give you however many tickets. And then when the fast passes are gone for the day, they wheel the cart back to wherever they take it. So you have to have a fast pass to get into the show. So just keep that in mind. This is the Mr. Smythe and Mr. Jones show. They've had Tangled and they've had Beauty and the Beast before, which I hadn't seen, but after seeing this, I would like to see the other ones when I go back, if they still have them. It might be something else, or it might still be all Frozen. I'm not sure. They might, you know, do Frozen and, like, you know, rotate with them. It was a very funny show, vaudevillian-esque. Yeah. If you're a Frozen fan, which I know the numbers are dwindling these days, me and all the kids, I would definitely suggest to check it out. And then it was time for my Space Mountain Fast Pass. Man, Space Mountain in Disneyland is so much smoother than Disney World. Let me tell you, Disneyland, I like Space Mountain a lot more. And then I went on Disney World's last year after going on Disneyland's, and it kicked my butt, man. It really kicks your butt. And then remembering Disney World from last year, going back on Disneyland, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. It's just like you don't feel anything really. It's like you took morphine and went on to Space Mountain. You're like, oh, this is so nice, type thing. But yeah. I don't know. It's weird. And then I went and saw the Tomorrowland preview because there was really not much to do and it was really busy. So I thought air conditioning. I wanted to see it anyway because I was going to see the movie. The preview was cool. It was funny because I was walking and I'm like, what's all this New York World Fair stuff? Because I hadn't seen the movie yet because it hadn't come out. It came out the following week. So I'm like, oh, cool, there's a lot. This has to do with the World's Fair. And then in the preview, you see the first 10 minutes of the movie, which basically take place at the 1964 World's Fair. You hear there's a great big beautiful tomorrow. You see It's a Small World ride that the boy goes into. It's just like, oh, man. But technically, if you're a Disney fan, you can basically see that and don't have to see the movie. If you just want to see it for that portion. But, I did enjoy the movie, which we won't get into a whole lot. You can watch my review on my other channel, youtube.com/westside515. Go over there and watch it. Then I went on a ride I've never been on before, Alice in Wonderland. It is a Fantasyland dark ride, much like Peter Pan's Flight or Mr. Toad, for those who don't know about Alice in Wonderland. All I have to say is it is a beautiful ride. I've never been on it before. It was down for refurbishment last time I went. That's all I could think when I was riding it. This ride is beautiful. And it really is. Easily my favorite Fantasyland dark ride. And that includes Peter Pan's Flight. It's just, there's a lot to it. And beautiful set pieces. That's a lot of fun, too. So that's why this one has a pretty long wait. To get on more than Mr. Toad or Pinocchio or anything like that. Then I hit up Big Thunder Mountain, which I love at Disneyland as well as Magic Kingdom. I love the explosion scene that they added in this one. Hopefully they'll add that to Magic Kingdoms. Tiki Room, got to see my Enchanted Tiki Garden, which I love. I know, I'm corny, but I love those talking statues outside. I had my Dole Whip, of course. Basically my before dinner snack. And of course the Tiki Room show I love too. And then I rode Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. That's still a lot of fun. And then finally I checked back and Indiana Jones was open. And they wouldn't let me go in the single riders line. So if you are planning on using the single riders line at Indiana Jones, no, they are very iffy when you cannot use it. Every single time I tried to use it, they would not let me, so I just sort of gave up. Because they're like, oh, we're not doing that right now, sorry. And I even had my single rider's pass. I still have it on me, in fact, in my wallet. And I said, oh, I was given this before, and the guy's like, oh, sorry. can't let you do it. And I'm just like, screw you, buddy. It's my birthday. But no, I was like, all right, that's fine. So I finally did get on Indiana Jones. That queue is basically, 10 miles long, but it's an awesome queue. So I give it that. They knew it was going to be a long wait when this ride was being made. This ride, Indiana Jones Adventure, I forgot how cool it was not being on it for 10 years. But it is literally one of the best rides I have ever been on in my life. And then I had a little bit of time left, literally like 3 minutes to get in line. So I hit up Haunted Mansion to see the Hatbox Ghost one more time and take some pictures. And I got there with literally 30 seconds to spare, and they're like, "Oh, not too bad." When I got out, there was a gang of people from Disneyland going to get to ride the Haunted Mansion, cast members that haven't seen the Hatbox Ghost yet, and I ran into a fellow YouTuber, Percy, at Dramatic Parrot. She has, if you want to learn how to draw Disney characters, she has great step-by-step tutorials, and I have drawn quite a few of her tutorials after going to the Animation Academy last year in the Animation Pavilion. She does great work. So it was cool because I saw her just sort of standing there, and I went up to her and I'm like, "By the way, I love your YouTube videos." And then we ended up talking for a little while, and it was awesome. All right, and then that was basically it for Disneyland. It closed at 7:30 that night. So then I went off and had dinner at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen Express. Had a shrimp po' boy. And then that was it for the night. I went back to the hotel. I, did some excavating around downtown Disney, and that was it. Next day, California Adventure. I spent the full day there. Yes, I know you can classify it as a half-day park, but, whatever. You can spend a full day there if you try. I got a fast pass for Anna and Elsa because, basically, there were two crowds because Soarin' was still closed at the time. There was a crowd at Radiator Springs Racers before the rope drop, the way to go there, and there was a crowd at the Hollywood land. I guess that was the Hollywood Pictures backlot. Yeah, and to line up, the line was ridiculous. I was near the front, luckily, and the park opened at 10. My fast pass to meet them was 10:30, so that was not bad at all. I don't know. I'm sure the fast pass is sold out by the end of the line. It was it was long, but the much better of an idea to do that than to have people wait 5 hours in line like last year. That was just wow. That was the worst I've ever seen anything. Any wait for anything, 5-hour waits, and they waited, and basically took half of their day of the parks. But that's it. If you want to wait 5 hours, you wait 5 hours. I did not. I waited 20 minutes after a death sprint. But this is a much better system. I don't know why they didn't think of it before. Hit up Tower of Terror while I was waiting. Got basically right on that. 13-minute wait, which is awesome. And they have a new rule that you cannot do any filming or pictures. So I'm wondering if someone's camera flew out or video camera or something. So when I do my vlog, it'll be a very familiar video from last year. Because I didn't want to get in trouble. Tower of Terror is awesome as always. This, I like the Florida one better, as most people do that have been to both, because you don't go into the fifth dimension with this one. You just sort of, drop. But it's cool. So then I went back. It was time to meet Anna and Elsa. There were literally no one in front of me. I was waiting to see a humongous line, but I guess with the fast passes it works well that way. So got to talk to them for quite a while. And they wished me happy birthday, told me to bring them some chocolate. If I can't eat all my birthday chocolate, I know where to find them. the two girls were very nice, and the two best Anna and Elsas I've met, I would say. They're awesome. So then headed over to the Frozen sing-along, which took the birthplace of the Muppets for the Frozen fun. But I I got bad news for a lot of Muppet Vision fans. The theater looks nothing like the Muppets. It's a beautiful theater. How they've transformed it for Frozen. It looks just like the inside of the castle from the movie. And the meet and greet, to go back to that, is awesome. There's humongous doors you go through. It looks like, once again, it looks like the hallways. Very nice. But you would never know it was the Muppet Theater if you've never been there. There was not like one little trace. So I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. Muppet Vision, I like it. I do. But I've seen it at least 15 times now. I would like an updated movie. If they're going to move it somewhere, update the movie. If it's cool for, people that have never seen it before, but, it would be nice for a little updated version. Anyway, I'm still a fan of the Muppets. Don't get all your panties in a bunch here, people. But the theater for the Frozen is very nice. And the show I prefer better in Hollywood studios. They have a different kind of storyline. Still has the same characters. You still see Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff, but I like the storyline better in Hollywood studios. If they could take the Hollywood studio show and put it in that theater, then we'd be good. Then after that, it was time. I got to see the California version of The Little Mermaid for the first time. I enjoyed that one. I like the setup better in Florida, where you're basically, going through the waterfalls and the caves and all that. Here you just go into a building, which I guess is supposed to resemble an aquarium of the early California days or something like that, but it's the exact same ride inside, basically, but the Florida setup is much nicer. The boat outside with Ariel on it. Hit up Toy Story Mania. That's nice as always. It was only like a 20-minute wait. Not like the 70s in Hollywood studios. California Screamin', got on that. That's cool as always. Walked right on that. My birthday button actually fell off. I put everything in the pouch except the birthday button. Oops. So I had to go back and get another birthday button. What can you do? And I got to meet Oswald, which was awesome. He's basically right where you walk in California Adventure. And he liked my Elsa shirt. I had the Winter is Coming shirt on. So I said, should we do a freezing powers pose? And we did all these freezing powers poses. It was really funny. Oswald, if you don't know the whole story behind him, he's basically the original Mickey Mouse before Walt made Mickey Mouse. And it's great to see him in the parks. For those who love Oswald, it's a must to meet him. Now that he's in certain parks. He hasn't come to Florida yet, but we'll see. Hopefully soon. Then I hadn't even been to Cars Land yet, so I headed to Radiator Springs Racers on a single rider's line. It was like a 15-minute wait. It was like nothing. So, love that ride. Love it, love it, love it. I'm not that big into the Cars movies, as I've said before, but this whole Cars Land, I love. And then I hit up the Aladdin show. As I've said before on here, the best show in a theme park, like sit down, like actual stage show, longer than 15 minutes. Not, that's not including Carousel of Progress, Tiki Room, Bears. This, I'm talking compared to Beauty and the Beast, the stupid stunt show, stuff like that. This is the best. If you, the genie was hysterical. He has, up to the minute pop culture references, talking about Tom Brady's deflated balls and stuff. It wasn't in that context. What's wrong, Al? Your balls are deflated like Tom Brady. Very funny. A great show to see. Monsters Inc. ride was cool as always. Mike and Sully to the rescue. It's kind of odd because they still had barricades up for the Mad Tea Party because they were rearranging that. So you really couldn't get there easy, and then you had to sort of go behind Wandering Okins and the Olaf meet and greet. So it's sort of like awkward, or it was. I'm sure those walls are down now because we had tea parties up and running. That you can get there easier, but it was at that time it was just sort of awkward to get to Monsters, and I'm not sure people really knew it was open, other than the people that go there all the time. Before almost all of that, I ate lunch at the Lucky Fortune Chinese restaurant. That was like a lot earlier in the day. I just forgot to tell you. Saw the Bug's Life movie. It's Tough to Be a Bug. It's basically the same exact show as the Animal Kingdom. Still gets a lot of screams and laughs, so you know people haven't seen it before. I enjoy the show though. Had dinner at the new Smoke Hoppers Grill, which is in the new California section. What is that? The Grizzly Peak area. It used to be Condor Flats, but now it's all in that Grizzly Peak area. And there was a wall up still around the Soarin' stuff that opened on Friday. So, but you still couldn't get in there. It was good. I got an upgraded drink for free for my birthday. Oh, there was one of my, we're gonna say Hitch Host perks for that one, just because it was me, not because I was wearing a birthday button. And then I hit up Radiator Springs Racers again and Tower of Terror because I had some time to kill. So why not ride those two again? And then it was time for World of Color, which you have to get a Fast Pass for earlier on in the day, over near Grizzly River Run. And you basically should get there an hour before to stake your claim of where you're going to stand for the World of Color. And also, you can play the game where you can control the wheel, Mickey's Fun Wheel. You play like a game of Simon, basically, and then you can, if you win that round against however many thousand people are playing, around standing there for waiting for World of Color, you can control the wheel. It was the same exact World of Color show that I saw last time. It wasn't the new Neil Patrick Harris show yet. They should have done a sneak preview, just whip it out for no reason. But no, they didn't. So then that was, I enjoy World of Color. It's a cool show. Then that was it for that day. The next day, I sold out, and I went to Universal Studios. Oh, don't hate me. Don't hate me, guys. I've never been to Universal Hollywood, and before all the Harry Potter hijinks gets into that park, I figured I better check it out before I'll start to hate it. I had a bus tour. I was on a double-decker bus with a big group of Australians, surprisingly, who I was telling all about the park. Even though I had never been to the park, I was telling them about the rides, because, you know, they know me from stage and screen. So they knew I knew. And even the bus driver was Australian. And then the song Down Under came on the radio, and I actually had to put that one on Facebook. That was too good to be true. Got a kick out of that. But anyway, arrived at Universal, so got out exactly where they were taping Extra. They weren't taping it yet. There was no big stars, so I wasn't going to come out and see a beauty talk about makeup with Mario Lopez. Sorry, Mario. So then I went out into the park. Everything now. If you've never been to Universal Studios Hollywood, I don't think I've talked about it on the show before. It's set up into two lots, an upper lot and a lower lot. To get to the lower lot, you have to go down 3 or 4 sets of escalators or stairs, which I don't know that you would really want to do that. So everything in the lower lot had no weight at all. It literally said no weight on the board inside. So I ran down, got a selfie with Beetlejuice, of course, as I was running into the park. And then went down all the escalators, all that fun, and got on Transformers for the first time I've ever been on that ride. It's basically the exact same as Spider-Man. If you've ever been on the Amazing Spider-Man ride, it's literally the same ride with a Transformers theme. And much like the movies, it makes no sense. A bunch of robots fighting with some sort of odd plot in there. Something about grabbing some sort of something that ends up in Megatron's chest. That's what I got out of that ride. Oh, okay then. I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. I never watched the cartoon. I only really cared for the first movie and not the rest. So, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. The ride is okay for what it is, but Spider-Man is much better. And I don't think that ride has to... I love the Spider-Man ride, but I don't need 5-6 different versions of that ride, you know, in the parks. It doesn't have to be... You're basically riding the same ride with a different film. Basically. But we won't get too much into that. Then I went on one of my favorite rides of all time, Jurassic Park. I flipped off the Spinosaurus, so that was nice to get that out of the way. And there's a raptor that you can take a picture with. Not as cool as the raptor encounter that I saw in Florida that just opened. That might be worth going for. But still cool. The Hollywood version of the ride, I like this. I like the Florida version too. Basically the same. Except, you know, where the Dilophosauruses are is different, and the car wasn't working that can come down. I've never been on the Hollywood version before, but I love both versions. When the T-Rex come down, I took a picture, and you can actually see the mechanics in the back of the T-Rex. So that's very lifelike. I guess you don't really notice it unless you're in the back row. But, still cool. Still cool. And they weren't Nazis about videotaping. They actually let someone else videotape. Because I thought, oh, this guy's gonna get yelled at. And they never did. And I'm like, wow, they're actually not as bad. So I took pictures. So, whatever. I actually went on that twice. I went on Transformers twice. And then I rode the Mummy twice. Because that was the only ride you actually had to get a locker for. Ugh. You had to put your stuff in the locker, and I can sort of see why for the Mummy Returns, or the Mummy, Revenge of the Mummy, whatever the heck it's called. A very quick ride, by the way. And then I got to meet Megatron in the Transformers meet and greet, which was very awesome. These are some of the best meet and greets. They're interactive. The Transformers have to be at least like 10 feet tall. They talk to you. It's not a recording because he said about this human is from the Dagobah system when he saw my Yoda backpack. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think they have that on as a recording. So, you know, it's obviously live. And it was just so awesome. So then that was it in the lower lot. So then I went back up the escalators up to the upper lot and rode the Simpsons ride. And that's the first time I've ever rode that. I skipped it when I went to Universal Florida in 2011 because it was a long line and I just didn't really, you know, have to wait for it. So I went to the Simpsons ride, and I really like the whole Simpsons land that actually had just opened the night before and I didn't even realize it. I think it's cool. It's a nice setup. It's probably 20 years past its prime. The Simpsons' popularity, that would have been cool 20 years ago when it was hot, but you know, it's still cool. The Simpsons ride itself, I like the setup, I like the pre-show, all that stuff was neat, but the ride itself is just sort of you know. I've seen it before on YouTube. You know, it didn't really impress me that much, the whole ride itself, but whatever. Then I ate lunch at the Krusty Burger, because why not? One of the first people to eat there, funny enough, the second day of its opening, and didn't even realize it, and I had the Krusty Burger and fries, and they were really good. I really liked it. And then it was time for the studio tour, and loved the studio tour. If you've never been to Universal Hollywood and you've been to Disney World, it's the old backlot tour on steroids, basically a much, much, much better version of that old backlot tour from Hollywood Studios. you drive past some of my favorite old Universal rides. You know, the Jaws shark. It sort of looks like the rubber shark from the Batman movie. Jumps out at you. You go through the earthquake sequence, and then of course there's the King Kong 3D, which is okay. I just don't find it scary because it's just like watching a movie. But evidently the two people next to me that were pretty large found it to be pretty frightening, and I literally almost broke a rib because of that. And the rest of the whole tour after King Kong 3D, my ribs were hurting very bad, and the rest of the day, in fact. But luckily, I think I'm all right. But that was not very fun. That whole sequence. But you know, you get to see the Desperate Housewives houses, the Grinch Whoville, the Norman Bates outside of the Bates Motel comes after you, and the War of the World set was really neat. The big plane, I like that. And then basically, then I did the Minion Mayhem, the Despicable Me ride. Did that for the first time. That was all right. Basically the same as Hanna-Barbera, you know, with a different updated movie. I like the setup there too, but the ride itself, I could take it or leave it. And I had my Rocket Raccoon and Agnes from Despicable Me shirt on the It's So Fluffy. It's her holding Rocket Raccoon, and the guy really wanted me to meet the three girls. So I came out and met the three girls, and that was pretty cool. And also then I was done with the ride, so I just sort of went around and did the special effects show. That was alright. They went through some of the stuff from the special effects that you use in movies. The Waterworld show I thought was really cool. That was one of the best stunt shows I've seen. A lot of cool stuff there. And I really liked the, before you even start the show, the theater ushers have sort of like a squirt gun that's sort of hidden as like a staff, and they press it down and they get unsuspecting victims as they walk by, and I thought that was really funny. And then I gave it a second chance. I'm not the biggest fan of Shrek 4D, and I thought, you know what, I got an hour to kill here. I might have, before the bus left, I'm gonna try it one more time, and I can't get into that movie. I think it's a good idea to have a Shrek theme park attraction, but not that. I think they could totally update that, because you've had 3 movies since that attraction came out, but oh man. I just think it's so weak with going into the torture chamber and welcome to your torture. Yeah, you got that right. It is torture. But, whatever. I'm sure Shrek 4D has its fans. I am not one of them. And then I caught the bus and we went back to the Anaheim area, and I got to meet up at Trader Sam's with my buddy Jeff Heimbuck from Communicore Weekly and his friend Donald Garner. And I've never been at Trader Sam's, so it was awesome finally getting there and having the food and whatnot. And we talked about Disney and Universal and all that jazz, because why not? And a lot of other stuff too. But very cool, guys. So then the next day was Thursday. I spent the whole day in Disneyland once again. Started off with Indiana Jones to make sure there was no funny business and make sure I got on it. And then I actually went to It's a Small World because the wait was like 45 minutes on Monday in the hot sun. There was basically no cover at all. It was just like a humongous line of people standing in the sun, and I'm like, I don't think so. Not for that ride. Went on. This was my first time on the Disneyland version of Small World, and I really, really, really liked it. The version in Magic Kingdom, I would say I tolerate. I only really go on once to go on it, You know, it's like, oh, it's nice. You know, it's fun to go on once. This one in Disneyland I actually went on 3 times during my vacation. So that shows how much more I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that it's a new version for me. It's the original version, and they also have the Disney characters in it, so you can. It's fun to spot the characters. You know, oh look, Simba. You know, Timon in Africa, and Ariel. Yeah, I have so many little girls were screaming for Ariel. You know, so. Aladdin and Jasmine in Morocco, and this and that, and it was a lot more fun. And it starts outside, so you go past some different animal hedges and whatnot. And yeah, I really like this version of It's a Small World. And then Buzz Lightyear had been closed for refurbishment for the first 3 days of the vacation. It was reopened on Thursday. They had the Buzz animatronic that you walk past in the entrance was under a curtain, so they might have been doing work on him. But later on in the vacation, he was unveiled again. So, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters is always fun, so I was glad I got to go on that. Went on the Storybook Canals, and that was fine. They added the new Arendelle little village and whatnot in the ice castle, so that was cool to see. And then it started to rain, so I had to go and spend some souvenir money on a Woody hoodie. I had my eye on that for quite a little bit in case that would ever happen, and it did. So I finally bought it, and you know. It was cool. So many people have the Buzz Lightyear one, so I had to get the Woody one, and I like Woody better than Buzz anyway. But I got a lot of high fives from guys in the Buzz Lightyear one, so made a few friends there. Basically, just repeated some rides. I had lunch at the Hungry Bear, which was not fun because to find a table with an umbrella because it was outside seating. All the downstairs seating was taken. So I was basically as far as you can go on trying to find an umbrella, sitting in the rain, eating. And then we wonder why I was sick. But at least I had an umbrella. Splash Mountain went on again because that was right there. And funny enough, the Brer Rabbit animatronic that you first see after you see Brer Fox and Brer Bear creeping up, saying about capturing him, where he's singing to the turtle, he was there Monday. The rest of the vacation, that Brer Rabbit was not there. So it looks like the turtle singing to himself or a ghost or something because you hear the voice, but you don't see the animatronic. And I don't know where he went in the spur of 2 days, but evidently to the workshop. I saw Mickey and the Magical Map Show for the first time. And I enjoyed that show. That's a nice. There's all the rides are crowded, so let's just sit down and watch this show type thing. It was cute. And the Jungle Cruise I got on. I didn't get on that on Monday because it was kept closing down. So evidently the animals were acting up. But that was mostly just a big day of just rewriting things. Pirates, Haunted Mansion, all the, Big Thunder, all those types, Space Mountain, Star Tours, all the big rides, got on those again. And I basically wasn't all that hungry. I was starting to feel sick. So I actually just ended up going to Denny's that night, which is literally in the same parking lot as the hotel. And then just went back to the hotel at, like 10. Then Friday was my actual, truly birthday. And I was going to try to do this HitchHiking host challenge that I set up. And unfortunately, it was raining the whole morning. So I wanted to start over in California Adventure. And a lot of the rides were closed because of the rain, including California Screamin', the Silly Symphony Swings. Certain rides were closed and I couldn't get on them, so I'll tell you a little bit about it later, but you know, I couldn't get everything done that I wanted to anyway, and then it ended up being majorly busy, so I basically just said, screw it. So, and you know what, it was my birthday, so I'm like, you know what, screw this, I'm not gonna ride rides I don't want to ride, I'm just gonna go do what I want to do. But anyway, I started out the morning at California Adventure, and I'm gonna give a shout out, because this family was awesome, a shout out to the Smith family. They were in front of me in line at the entrance to get into California Adventure, and I was standing there in my Woody hoodie and it was raining, and the dad came over and put his umbrella over me, and we started talking, and I got to know them pretty well. So shout out to them. I hope they're watching the show. Subscribe, tweet me, whatever, and we'll catch up, and I'll see how the rest of your vacation went. So the first thing we did, I actually ended up going over to Soarin' with them, because they were heading over to Soarin' over California, and they wanted me to lead the way. So Soarin' was actually open at 8:30 when they let everyone in the park that was lining up for Radiator Springs or Anna and Elsa. They let us in, and so literally, when we got into the Soarin' over California building, which is all new, this was the first day it was open, they were taking the seatbelts and unbuttoning them, the cast members, when we got into the ride. So we were literally some of the first people to ride the new version of Soarin' over California, which is a lot like the older version. They just sort of, I think the film might be more updated. It's the same exact film, but I'm saying, like, the quality of the film and the you know, new paint job inside and whatnot. But it was cool. I was one of the first people to ride that actual version. And then I led them over to Radiator Springs Racers, and we talked in line for a little bit. The ride actually broke down for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. And got on Radiator Springs Racers. I got separated from them, and that was that. So hopefully you guys had fun the rest of the day. Then I went and did Toy Story Mania, Little Mermaid. I did the Golden Zephyr and the Jumpin' Jellyfish for the first time for this challenge. And those rides are like, you know, if you have kids, they might enjoy them. But, you know, I never have to go on them again unless I do the challenge. Tower of Terror, Monsters, Bugs Life, the Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, which I had been on last trip, and it does really whip you around. It's not as kiddie as it looks, shall we say. It's a cool ride. So then I basically did everything I could do over in California Adventure that was on my list to do, and went over to Disneyland, and it was mega crowded. And that's when I sort of knew I'm screwed. The rain sort of stopped, so Autotopia opened, so I went and did that. And I never have to do that ride again, I'll tell you. I don't know how that gets an hour-long wait for that ride, because it's just, you know, I guess because kids like to drive. But, you know, the 28-year-old West Troop does not need to drive any more than he does in real life, so I don't need a theme park ride of it where I'm on a track. I had lunch at Red Rocket's Pizza Port in Tomorrowland, and that was basically when I thought about it and said, screw this challenge, I'm just gonna have some fun. I'm not gonna be riding rides like Autotopia all day. So I just repeated my fun rides. Pirates, Haunted Man, like I said, you know, it's a lot of eat, sleep, repeat here the last few days. I got to see the new, well, no, it's the same Soundstation Parade, but they had the Anna and Elsa float with Olaf in the beginning. That's fine for me. And I like the Soundstation Parade. I did use a Fast Pass at Star Tours, and this cast member was very nice. I walked by and gave my Fast Pass, and she saw it was my birthday, so she like hunted me down. I'm walking through the Star Tours queue, and all of a sudden I hear, hey, 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 and I'm like, what did I do now? You know? And she's like, here's a pass so you can get on any ride you want and basically get to the front of the line. So I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. So that was a very nice gift on my birthday, so thank you, Star Tours cast member. I used that on Indiana Jones, and it was totally worth it to use it on that. Let me tell you that. And then I watched Fantasmic. You have to get a fast pass for that, otherwise you're sort of screwed. You'll be watching it from God knows where. I love the Disneyland version of Fantasmic. I wish they had an arena, like in Hollywood Studios. Like I've said before, put the Disneyland show in the Hollywood Studios arena, and you got it. I would be very happy, but you know, I love the pirate ship in Disneyland version. And then fireworks, which I if you see the first show of Fantasmic, they literally give you 5 minutes to make it over to Main Street, or you know, anywhere where you can actually see the fireworks. You have 5 minutes, if that. It was more like 3 that I was given, and I'm trying to dodge the crowds. The crowds are nuts going through. They had me in New Orleans Square in between Pirates and Haunted Mansion, which is a busy section as it is on a very busy night. And I basically had to try to make it through, past Pirates, through Adventureland, to try to get to Main Street. They had people crowded in like cattle to see these fireworks. So, you know, I'm just like, screw this. I'm going to eat a corn dog, because there was a corn dog cart right there on Main Street that wasn't roped off, and I'm going to watch them here. And I did that. And while I was in line, the fireworks were literally like 8 minutes. It wasn't the extravagant show where Tinkerbell comes down and Dumbo flies like I saw last year. It was just, you know, it went to the soundtrack of Mary Poppins. It wasn't all that great, but Disney fireworks are better than normal fireworks, so I at least give it that. And then I found out it was grad night that night, and that's why it was so crowded. It was horrible. Saturday was my last day to spend it in Disneyland, and I did. The first hour or two was fine, and then it crowded up. It was another grad night, and it was just horrible. There was the waits were ridiculous. 45 minutes for the Astro Orbiter. It was 2 hours for Space Mountain. I posted a picture on my Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, here you go, guys. Check out these waits. An hour for Haunted Mansion. 80 minutes for Pirates. An hour for Alice in Wonderland. It's just like, holy crap. This is a day, and I was not feeling good this day. So like I rode the railroad and stuff, and by 2 o'clock I had lunch at the Jolly Holiday. Had a tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich, so you know I was sick. And I said, you know what, screw this. I'm going back to the hotel. It's better than just walking around. I was going from bathroom to bathroom trying to get my ears to pop by blowing my nose, and it was just not fun. And I was just going from ride to ride, hoping that the times would die down, and they weren't. They were just getting bigger and bigger. I had 2 fast passes for Space Mountain and Star Tours that I didn't even use that day. I just went back to the hotel, took a nap, and then I looked at the times on an app, on a Disneyland wait time app. The waits did not get any better 2 hours later, so I actually just went to the movies that night at Downtown Disney and saw Pitch Perfect 2, and used my movie pass, which is good because it was like $12.50 for a normal show that at night. So definitely look into a movie pass if you live in there. Then I just did some shopping in Downtown Disney. I got, I added to my art collection and got the HitchHiking Ghosts picture, a drawing, a painting, a print, whatever you want to call it, for my collection. So that's pretty awesome. And that was pretty much it. I left the next morning and came back, and that's when I got really sick. That was Disneyland in a nutshell. If you go on a Saturday, just expect not to get much done, especially getting closer to the summer. And now, with the Diamond Celebration, unfortunately I went a week too early, and like none of that stuff was happening. They didn't even have the souvenirs out. I thought at least I'd get some souvenirs for the celebration. No, they came out a week later, and I missed the Matterhorn. I could see the engineers riding the Matterhorn, and I'm just like, can I flash my birthday button? Will they let me on? But no, and I saw the video of the new Yeti, and the abominable snowman, whatever you want to call him. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see that whenever I end up back in Disneyland again. Who knows when that will be? It might be sooner than we think. It might be for a few years. So I don't know. But that will be something to look forward to at least. And so all in all, it was a good trip. A little busier than I thought it would be for being a supposed off week. The week before all the fun started in the celebration. But a good trip nonetheless. Alright, well that's all the time we've got for this episode. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/HitchHostShow. You can like the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/HitchHostShow. Follow on the Twitter and the Instagram at HitchHostShow. And of course, until next time, don't forget to for the next episode. See ya!